like, especially when Lindsay had left. Lindsay left the year after I got there, and I never said it to her, which I wish I did because it would have been so cool and funny to come back at it. But I remember thinking, like, the next time I play with you will be on the national team. Like, I set that goal for myself, and I wish I would have said it, because then it would have hit that much harder.
Today, I am so excited to get to speak with one of the most exciting players in the NWSL and a fresh addition to the U.S. Women's National Team, Yazmeen Ryan. Yaz is a rising star midfielder and forward, comfortable being versatile. She's quick on her feet. She's confident on the ball. It is no wonder that Emma Hayes is taking notice, and so are NWSL fans after a big move from Gotham to the Houston Dash this offseason in what feels like a massive win for the Dash. I am just so glad she found the time to talk to us. Yaz, welcome to Friendlies.
Hi, thank you. That was quite the intro. I love that.
Oh my gosh, you deserve it. Yaz, I think that the only time we've like really met in person was at Kelly O'Hara's retirement party, and we were playing Flip Cup, and I took a moment from screaming at my team to introduce myself to you.
I know, that was such a funny moment. I was like, oh my God, that's Sam. And I felt like I mean, I obviously know who you are, and like, but just had never actually like met you. So that was so fun. That was such a fun moment.
I know. It was so fun. It was so nice to meet you. I am a big fan, so I'm excited to get to know you better through this interview. I know that you grew up in Norman, Oklahoma with your family, where you led your high school team to their first ever state championship. But what I really loved about this story wasn't the state championship win. It was what you said was really special about that team, is that you got to play with your sisters, 3 of them, Simone, Francesca, and Jada. You also have a brother. I don't want to overlook him, but it seems like your sisters, the Ryan sisters, were like local heroes. Can you tell me a little bit about how playing with them made you fall in love with soccer even more?
Yeah, I mean, the whole reason why I started playing was because my oldest sister, Simone, played. And then, yeah, getting that overlap where we were all in high school together. Simone, my oldest sister, was a senior. Francesca was a sophomore, and then I was a freshman. Jada, my youngest sister, she was always the ball girl for our game. So she was definitely a part of it and like was there all the time. And so, yeah, I mean, playing with them like was just so much fun. And like we all also played different positions. I mean, I naturally, of course, floated around everywhere, but Simone was a defender. I played midfield, and then Francesca was a forward. So like that was also really cool that we were in all different lines. My sister Simone was an amazing leader, and like I felt like encouraged me and motivated me on the field, and was that voice. I mean, for the whole team, and like, but as well as like for me. And so it gave me so much confidence when I played with them. And then Francesca was the aggressive, like fast forward that you knew had your back, like was always there if like, you know, there was like, not a fight because we never fought, but like, I don't know. So I always knew that I had people like, they always had my back. And that was like, it just gave me confidence.
Oh my gosh. I like love the way you explain them individually too. Do you think that you picked up any of their qualities from playing with them? And do you ever feel yourself playing right now and feel yourself embodying one of your sisters?
You know, that's a really good question, because I actually think I do, especially Simone's leadership and how she would try to motivate on the field and the way that she would hype people up. I think I tried to do that, and I definitely do that naturally on the field, like when, you know, just like giving other players confidence on the field and making sure they know when they're doing well. I mean, I don't know, like that, like, yeah, like I don't know if we can cuss. I want to say hell yeah, but like, just like that voice.
Oh yeah, you can say hell.
Yeah, she was just like, hell yeah, like good tackle, like all this stuff. And then Francesca had that feistiness to her that added to her game. So I do think I do kind of channel both of them.
Oh my gosh, I love that. When you all were playing together in high school, did you get along well, or was there ever, like, I remember playing in high school with my sister, Christy was 2 years older than me, and we're best friends now, but we didn't really get along in high school. Like, I think I was like the annoying younger sister that was kind of always like trying to hang out with her friends, and she was like, can you get away from me? Did you guys have any of that?
I don't remember us really having that, especially on the field. I mean, I was naturally just more involved. I think I internalized like my own performance and like what I'm doing and like how I'm going to get here to college to pro. Like, I mean, I probably took it more serious as far as like, this is going to be a career for me. But my sisters, like, were definitely, I mean, still intense, of course, and like we're in it when they were in it. We, of course, had our sister fights off the field, but for some reason on the field, I don't remember ever having that. Like, we were so like excited and like happy to play with each other and just like be on the same team. Which is honestly really surprising because we're all like, I mean, growing up, all we did was fight at home, but like, yeah, on the field, we didn't.
I know. That's so nice that you were able to kind of keep that off the field. It sounds like such a dream scenario to get to play with your sisters like that. And I know for me, of course, it was as well. After high school, you had a standout college career with TCU. You led the team to an Elite Eight trophy. You were also a 2021 Mac Hermann Trophy semifinalist. You earned 4 all-conference selections. You were named United Soccer Coach's first team All-American. You're a member of Top Drawer Soccer's first team Best 11. But something that also feels like a kind of honor and an award is the way your teammates spoke about you. A younger teammate at TCU, Messiah Bright, talked about you like an older sister, which I feel is so cool after having just heard you speak about the way your older sister was for you on your high school team. How important was it to you to bring that family feeling that made you love soccer so much into your college team environment?
That's just what I always grew up with, and it helped with my sisters being on the team, but that my team was my family, and we were very ride or die for each other. And I think just kind of like naturally having that and not really seeing it any other way. Going to college, with TCU also being an underdog, I think that helped because we needed to rally behind each other in order to reach that level of success that we did. The soccer players as well as the people that Eric Bell and Ryan Higginbotham were able to bring in, like players like Messiah Bright, like as people, just so cool and so good, and everybody was always wanting to have fun and help each other. And so I think having a good group of people really helped with that.
That sounds like so much fun. We're going to talk more about this later, but I do want to point out that you and Messiah will be playing together again this season for the Houston Dash. How excited are you to be reunited with her?
Yeah, I'm so excited. It's been so long. And then with her coming into the league, like it was always so funny playing against her. But I'm so excited that we're finally on the same team. I knew it would happen eventually, and I didn't know it would be this quick. And so it was such an amazing surprise, and I'm really excited.
I know, and back in Texas too, which is very cool. Before we get too much into the Dash, I want to start back at the beginning of your NWSL career. You were drafted 6th in the first round to Portland in the 2021 NWSL draft, and you immediately did this really cute video interview, which we're going to link in the show notes, but like you have your family all just pouring into the frame, adults, kids. It looked like such good chaos, and this was also during the pandemic, so it just seems especially nice that you all got to share that moment. Do you remember that moment and kind of how your family all celebrated you getting drafted together?
Yeah, I remember it kind of being tricky with the setup and like me even being able to go home. I mean, it was my mom, all my sisters, my best friend from high school, and like family friends. And I think I was so lucky to be able to go home and share that moment with them because it felt even more special than what I would have imagined it to be. I mean, their excitement, I was so eager to like get started and get going. And yeah, I mean, sharing that moment with them is always incredibly special.
You played for 2 years in Portland, and during your second season with the team in 2022, you led the team in assists, with fans and coaches praising your distribution, but also your versatility, your ability to play different positions, your skills with your feet. You were really considered an essential playmaker for the Thorns, who went on to win the NWSL Championship that year. What was it about that second season with Portland that really enabled you to have such breakout success individually?
First season that I came in, I had missed preseason due to COVID and NCAA tournament starting later in that spring, and then graduation as well. So I had missed preseason with the Thorns. I still, came in as ready as I could and like learned so much. And obviously, yeah, still got some minutes and starts in the first year. And I think the way that it fell short, because I was so confident in the team was so confident in the team, losing in the semifinal hurt real bad. And so going into the next season, I was like, we're winning this championship. There's no way like that we don't win this. And I, of course, wanted to play an essential role in that. And so from the beginning, of the season. I think that was the focus and that was the task. And that was like, yeah, that was the goal. And so from day one of that second season, I was incredibly determined to reach that goal. I mean, the fact that it came off was like amazing. I felt like I could do anything, and it was so cool to get to play with the players that I did. The season before, it falling short and losing in the semifinal is what like completely changed and like really helped me grow my mentality and like the determination to want to get that back.
You mentioned some of the incredible players that you were playing with on the Thorns that year in 2022. I imagine that was like Becky Sauerbrunn, Christine Sinclair. Do you have a specific memory about any of these players that you were teammates with that you think back on and you're like, wow, I can't believe they were my teammate?
Yeah, I feel like that's all of them. Especially Lindsay, Sink, Rocky, Crystal. There was just so many. I know I'm forgetting. Obviously, so for her, like her, that was like at the beginning of her, you know, everything. And so being a part of that, Becky Sauerbrunn, of course. Oh my gosh, I knew I'd forget somebody. So that I shouldn't have even started listing names because there was just so many. But being on that team the first year it helped me like understand I feel like a faster rate maybe that what professionalism is and like what it looks like to be in the league, what it looks like to be a pro, what you need to do for the team to be successful and individually, the details, the small details in recovery, and what you're doing in training every day and being intentional. Yeah, I mean, I just learned so much about the baseline, the standard of what it is to be a professional. And then, you know, how can you also be above that and out-compete and outperform those around you.
I feel like being on a team like that early on in your career would be so influential. But the very next season after winning the championship, you went to Gotham, who at the time were last in the league, all the way at the bottom of the table. How did you feel about this, going from a team that had just won the championship to a team that had been on the bottom the previous season?
I was very familiar with the situation, and growing up, every team that I'd been on was at the bottom or the underdog or really had to like take major steps forward to reach the top. And I knew Gotham had the pieces, and I knew that Juan coming in as well, that he would be able to put together a great team, what he had done with Houston the year before, just as an interim and helping them reach the playoffs for the first year. I felt was really motivating as well. And so going into it, I mean, I felt so excited to have that challenge, to bring a team from the bottom to the top. And that's something I feel like I resonate with the most and the best, and what brings out the most in me as well.
Well, that is great foreshadowing to the situation you're in now, but we're going to get to that in just a second. That year, 2023, you played so hard for Gotham. You made the most appearances of any player on the team in the 2023 season, and you helped bring them all the way from dead last to champions, back to back. Portland was a dynasty when you joined them. Gotham were the underdogs. How different did that win with Gotham just 1 year after your win with Portland feel?
It's always a different feeling when you win and nobody expected you to. And it's sort of a surprise to anybody on the outside. Versus with Portland, it was an expectation to win. Like that everybody knew that would happen, or, you know, that was like by default, right? But when you come on a team that is nobody's expecting it, or it's not seeming like it's possible, I guess, is when it really feels that much better when it does happen. Because you know, as the player on the team, you know, as the individual that's there every day putting in the work, that this is something that we can do, and it can happen. So when all that hard work pays off and your determination as a player pays off in that way, I mean, it's really, there's nothing like it.
I actually can relate. I think I have won championships with like a Cinderella underdog team in Western New York in 2016, where like literally we never should have won, and it was like the coolest, most unexpected thing ever. But then I've also won with North Carolina in like 2019, when I think it was pretty expected that we would win. And there is something really special about that Cinderella story where every win is like a miracle, and everybody is kind of like riding this wave of the magic, and it just feels so special. I think those are some of the best moments in sports. You played one more season with Gotham before announcing that you would be heading back to Texas and to the Houston Dash for a league record allocation fee. Gotham stated that they had worked tirelessly to honor your request to move. So clearly making this move was really important to you. I just wanted to know a little bit more about how the conversations about you leaving started and what it was about the Dash, who finished the 2024 season in last place, that made it feel like the right move for you.
It was just a time where I wanted to move on, and I wanted to find a different team. And then, I mean, as bluntly as I can put it, Houston had the best offer coming in, and I going into a move was not specific on a team. I just knew that I wanted a change, and I needed a change and a shift in my career. And so I'm so happy that Houston was so forthcoming and really wanted to come out and give me. And then, yeah, I mean, I was like, yes, I can do this again. Like I can help push a team from the bottom to the top. Again, another story, and it's never, yeah, it's not easy, and it's never, I'm not saying it's going to happen to this year or the first year. Like maybe it did with Gotham, you never know. But I mean, that's definitely the hope and the expectation. And I'm so excited to be with this group. And there's such like a refreshness, a different energy with this group that I think I individually need and needed. And, yeah, I mean, I couldn't have been happier that it ended up being Houston, and being closer to home as well is always so nice and refreshing too. It was more so just needing a move, and then, what team was going to have, the best fight for me. Cause you also want to be wanted as a player, and you want, to know that a team is wanting to really bring you on their side.
Well, if Houston shoots to the top of the table, Yaz, I am going to be the first one to say that you are the common denominator. You mentioned this feeling of being around the locker room is refreshing. What about the team that you've experienced so far might signal to you that this team has what it takes to really turn it around and shoot up the table?
Everybody on this team is willing to put in the work and do what is asked of us from the coach's standpoint. I mean, just every day in training is a battle, and it's like we're all out there to get better and to also mesh as a team and really get to know each other and each other's tendencies and how we play. That's something that really helps when you enter into a season and like kind of have that storyline from the year before. But just like everyone is just works so hard, and then like it's so intense, and it's like I don't know. It's really just that, like, for the most part, that I think is really special, and that's like the baseline, right, to me of what a championship team and a team that's successful is. That's what you need, and I think Houston has everything we need to be at the top and to be successful. And it's things like that are going to help carry us to where we want to go.
Yeah, I have just one more question about Houston, and then I want to talk national team a little bit. But okay, here at the women's game, we have been describing Houston's offseason as a glow up, which like I think is such a great way of describing it. The team has new owners, a new coach, a new GM. And I'm curious, Yaz, I know that you've only been with the team for, just these few short months, but how would you describe the team on the field? Like, what are you seeing from preseason, from early on that, gives you a clear sense of like, this is who we are on the field? What can the fans expect?
Yeah, we're definitely a team that wants to keep the ball. And I think we're going to be a team that's going to honestly be able to do it all. Keep the ball, be patient, go direct if we need to. We have the speed up top. We have the everybody loves the magicians in the middle. We have the rock in the back line. Like we have everything. And so I also think while we want to keep the ball and be a more possession based team, I don't think there'll be many problems that we can't solve as a team, because I think that we're just going to be a Swiss knife. We're just going to have We're going to be
Love
able to
that.
have all the tools.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that's a great way of describing Houston, a Swiss Army knife. I do want to talk about the national team. It feels like after those two back-to-back NWSL championships and now this headline-making move to a club where you can really make your mark, it kind of feels like you're entering the next phase of your career. And obviously, part of that is your place on the U.S. women's national team. This past October, you got your first well-deserved call-up. Do you remember the moment that you got called in and you got to tell your family that you were going into camp?
Yeah, I did. It was a little later at night when I got the email, and I had been on the provisionals for a little while, and so I was never really sure like what the turning point would be. And so getting the email and it not saying reserves, I was like, oh my God, this is it. Like, oh my God, this is it. This is it. And so I was definitely like very shocked and surprised and so happy and so relieved that I finally was able to get a foot in the door and to get to be a part of this team. So I was just like, oh my God, like this is it. We're doing it. It's happening. It's finally happening.
That's incredible. Yeah, I mean, the U.S. women's national team is so competitive, and sometimes it feels like players can miss their window to get called in. And I think recently, with so many incredible young players getting called up, you didn't get your first call up to the team until you were 25. Did you ever worry that it maybe wouldn't happen? And how did you kind of push through that doubt and just keep working?
Yeah, there is definitely, that thought when you see a lot of players getting opportunities, younger players, like you said as well. And because I got my first provisional after the 2023 championship with Portland. So, yeah, I mean, it had been a minute. So I didn't know, I don't know how the process works. Like, I'm like trying to figure out, how does this work? But I think it was so key for me in waiting for what it felt to me like a while. I developed so much of like, I think just like mental toughness and growth on the field. Like maybe I wasn't ready at that time, and timing is everything. And I honestly couldn't have been more grateful because I've never felt more ready. Like I felt so ready to be a part of the environment, and I was so ready for the first camp, and I felt so prepared. And that's when I'm at my best, is when I feel that way, and when that's what it is. There's always those thoughts, and there's always overthinking with things like that. But I think it really helped me in the end, because I never felt more prepared to be a part of this team.
Your first cap, you looked super prepared. It was a friendly with Iceland. You looked incredible in the field, fast, clean footwork, getting around defenders. And then afterwards, I remember this video, your old Portland Thorns teammate, Lindsay Heaps, got emotional giving you your first cap game ball. How surreal did all of that feel? Like, what do you remember feeling in that moment?
Yeah, I mean, I was like, this is such a, like full circle moment. This is what I'd been dreaming of. This is what I'd been thinking about from the beginning, obviously younger, but definitely once I entered into the professional environment and got to play alongside players like Lindsay. And so I remember thinking, I never actually said it to anyone, but I remember thinking at the time when I was at Portland, especially when Lindsay had left. Lindsay left the year after I got there, and I never said it to her, which I wish I did, because it would have been so cool and funny to come back at it. But I remember thinking, like, the next time I play with you will be on the national team. Like I set that goal for myself, and I wish I would have said it, because then it would have hit that much harder. But yeah, like I knew that this would, the next time I got to play with even a player like Soph, when I left Portland, like I'll see you on the national team. And it was just so
Oh my gosh.
fulfilling, and it was so I was so proud of myself. And then with Lindsay being able to present me the first cap ball, like it all started with playing with players like her. I feel like in coming into the league and really growing that much more. And so it was really special.
That is a really, really cool story. I totally understand what you mean about getting to play with players who are already playing and acting at the professional level that it requires to be on the national team, and getting that exposure to somebody like Lindsay so early on in your career, and of course all those other Portland legends that we mentioned, must have been so crucial. And I love that you had that in your head and you had that belief and you kind of manifested like, okay, Lindsay, like, good luck, but I'll see you on the national team. I think that's so awesome for people to hear, that you had that belief in yourself. And I'm really glad that you shared that with us. The recent She Believes Cup in February was your first real international tournament with the team. And obviously, I thought you all had a great tournament, but you did end up losing to Japan in the third game, and Japan won the tournament. I do want to ask, what's something you really enjoyed about this series of games and kind of getting to experience more of a tournament rather than just friendlies as a national team player?
Being a part of the tournament, especially with the national team for the first time, and not coming out on top, was not that it brings back, because it's already there, especially for me personally, but it's kind of like when I said how Portland lost, and it felt so dissatisfying my first year. Like, it's kind of like the same thing with the national team. Like, I not coming out on top was like I'm so ready to be back in another tournament setting with this team, and even just like games and getting that exposure over and over again, to eventually win the medal and win, the tournament, the game, whatever. But I really enjoyed getting to see the process of it all, and how the team is, and what, just like what we're doing, and how it kind of flows and works. And I think what's something that's really cool about the team is that we don't change much. Like, every game we're coming in with the same mentality and the same goal. And so it doesn't feel bigger, because every game is approached and every tournament is approached in the same way, if that makes sense. That was my kind of like outlook of it all, which really helped me as a newer player coming in, and a less experienced player with the national team, to not overcomplicate, to not like overanalyze about anything, and that nothing is different and we're still playing the same game.
Yeah, I think that's a great way of looking at it. And as you kind of start to think about your future with this national team, we've talked a lot about, you have all this experience at the club level, you have championship experience, you have 2 NWSL championships under your belt already, but you are a little bit newer to the national team. What do you think that you can offer some of the younger players who are coming up? What do you imagine that your role on this national team could be?
I'm ready for anything and everything. My goal will always be to put myself in a position where I'm prepared to give 100%, and always competing for playing time, for a starting spot. Like we've said, I've played so many different positions. I've played a different roles. Portland was a different role than Gotham. Houston's a different role than Gotham. So I feel like, because I've already welcomed most of those situations and everything that's happened. Yeah, I think something with younger players is, I hope that I want them to know to come in as themselves and as confident as they are in their club teams, to bring that to the national team. And that, for me, I believe that will help tremendously with just overall, because the coach's decision is the decision at the end of the day. But if you can feel good about what you're doing on the field and what you're providing, then your moment will come, your time will come. So I think just staying confident in what you're doing, and believing in you as a player, and what you can individually bring in your abilities, bring that, and and the rest will fall. But remaining confident and true to yourself and your style as a player, while of course growing and all those amazing things. But staying confident is really key, I believe.
That was really beautifully said. Yaz, I appreciate you sharing that. That kind of just gave me like sister vibes. Like, I'm like, I can hear your older sister saying that to you, and then you sharing that. So I feel like that was just such great advice for some of these younger players. The U.S. is about to play Brazil twice in these upcoming friendlies, which is actually set to be a rematch of the Paris Olympic gold medal match last summer. So I couldn't help. I wanted to know, Yaz, where did you watch the Olympic final from? And how does it feel now, maybe a few months later, to be part of this rematch and rivalry?
Yeah, where was I? I think I might have just been at home in the living room, like on the couch. I feel like that's where I probably watched most of national team games.
Yeah.
And so it was just in the comfort of my own home, and it's just so easy, and you're just watching. Yeah, I think it would be very surreal. Like when even playing most of the teams, especially a team like Japan that has that rivalry as well. Um, I'm like, wow, if I get to partake in that, it's like, wow, like I'm now the person on the field. I'm not watching at home, just on the couch in the living room. Like I'm actually contributing to this game. And I just feel so grateful and like I'm just very determined and like motivated to be the one on the field and to play my game against Brazil and the players and to play against those players as well. Um, so I mean, yeah, I think every game and playing against most of the teams, but definitely those rivals that have happened. Now getting to be a part of that and see it and to contribute on the field would be just so cool. Like there's just really nothing like it. I mean, I don't know. It's so wild. I definitely think about it too before the game. Like I'm like, wow, I really was just watching on TV. And now I'm the one walking out. I'm the one on the field. Like I'm the one, you know, that's like sees something happening and somebody's probably yelling at the TV like, oh, like this pass is open or like shoot or, whatever. But I'm the one now making those decisions on the field, and that's what I've always wanted. So I'm so excited for it.
Yeah. Yeah. This has been so much fun to get to know you better. And I promise that when I see you on TV, I will only cheer for you. I have become such a big Yazmeen Ryan fan. And now that I know you a little bit better, I'm going to be even more excited to watch you play. So thank you so much for doing this. I know that everybody's going to love it. And I can't wait to watch you with both the Houston Dash and with the national team.
Thank you so much. Seriously. I mean, the way that you've talked about me as a player and like everything that you've said, I've appreciated so much. I can't tell you what it means to me, honestly. Like I watched you. You were my favorite player on the national team. I loved your game. Like everything about you, Sam. You're a really great player in person. And like, so all of this coming from you means so much. And it really gives me so much more confidence when I go out as well. And it's just like, it's just amazing. So thank you.
That was literally so nice. I'm like kind of tearing up. That means a lot to me to hear you say all that. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh my God, that was so sweet, Yaz. Thank you so much for saying that. Yaz is such an exciting player, and I can't wait to see her this week with the U.S. Women's National Team. Don't forget, Raj and I are hosting the Altcast for Saturday's game at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on True TV and Max. Please join us. I promise it will be so much fun. And then just a heads up for our Good Vibes super fans and even our Good Vibes curious fans, Lynn and I are recording Good Vibes a day early. So you can listen to that on Monday next week and make sure you're covered on all the U.S. Women's National Team action before Tuesday's second U.S. Women's National Team game against Brazil. Next week's Friendlies guest will be another U.S. Women's National Team attacker who I sat down with in person during my trip to North Carolina. It's Jaden Shaw. Jaden was so wonderful, and this interview is really special because we're together in person. We were really vibing and hanging out. I love sitting with her. So please make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel for next week's episode drop. Thank you all so much for being here, and we'll see you soon.